Emily Jansen was, by all appearances, your normal young lady. She was in her high school chorus. She enjoyed music. She enjoyed going to the beach with her friends. She went to prom. She had a lot of friends, and she enjoyed just having fun. She was your normal girl. But she did post on her Facebook some things that she felt like that you as a person would want to know. Apparently, Miss Jansen was a person who was in chronic pain. According to reports, she had very severe migraines. And so she posted on Facebook 16 things people in chronic pain want you to know. She wants you to know. We try really hard to look good. We often hear things like, you don't look sick, but the truth is most of us try very hard to pass as being normal. You don't want people to know you're sick. You want people to think that everything's okay, so you don't talk about your pain. Number 2, it's not all in our heads. Just because you can't see it, it doesn't mean it's not there. Our pursuit of health care is not driven by hypochondria or need for attention. It's driven by physical discomfort. So the pain is real. People with chronic pain do feel it. It's not an imaginary thing. Number 3, we are not making a mountain out of a molehill. We are actually in more pain than you think we are in. Number 4, no matter how long we've been suffering, it still hurts. Having pain for an extended period of time does not give us superpowers to feel it less. However, most people with chronic pain have learned over time to exhibit less pain-related behaviors. So you can never really tell how much pain a person is in by looking at them. Number 5, sometimes we don't have enough spoons. The spoon theory is an analogy to explain what it's like to live with a chronic illness such as chronic pain. Christine Miserandino, a woman who lives with lupus, originally coined the term on her website, butyoudon'tlook.sick.com. The basic premise is that when you have a chronic condition, you wake up every day with a certain number of spoons. Every time you exert effort by getting out of bed, cleaning, getting dressed, you lose a spoon. When you run out of spoons, that's it. The day's activities are done. Chronic pain can be an exhausting condition, so if we cancel our plans with you, it may be because we are out of spoons. Number 6, we're not lazy. In fact, we have to work twice as hard to accomplish the task. Number 7, if we don't have a job, it's for a reason. Number 8, it's really hard to get out of bed. Number 9, every minute feels like an eternity. Number 10, we are not ignoring you. Number 11, we are really excited to have a good day. On and on, she posted these things, what she would like for you to know about her life. On the outside, things looked fine. Things looked great. Her prom pictures. She looked beautiful. She seemed very happy. On the beach, everything was fine, but this is a girl who is in tremendous pain. And not just your normal typical headache, a headache which I might get every now and then, but she was in pain all the time, chronic pain. So how do you as a person live like that? How can you endure every day through pain, through suffering? It's hard. Now, I am the biggest baby. If I get a headache, I immediately take some Advil or something like that because even at the slightest sensation of a headache coming on, my wife will suffer through it. She will not take medicine. She has had a few headaches over the years, but she will not take anything unless it's like unless it's completely unbearable. And that's usually about 3 or 4 hours of her having the headache. But this young lady had to endure it every day. And we think, how do you live like that? But let's not just talk about her. Let's talk about her family. How did her mother live through this? How was her mother able to look at her little girl who was constantly suffering all the time? You're completely helpless. There's absolutely nothing you can do. All you can do is hold them and pray for them and just try to make their time a little bit less pain to make their time more painless? What do you do if you're her father, who it's your job to take care of her? It's your job to look after her. You spend most of your time trying to make sure that kids in the neighborhood, at least this is me, spend most of my time making sure if she's outside, those little bratty bullies around the neighborhood aren't talking to her or doing something to hurt her feelings or whatever. I spend my time trying to make sure she is not hurt. So as a dad, what do you do? How do you react to this? If your little girl, now I say little girl, this girl, I actually don't know how old she is, but she looks like she may be in her early 20s. But as a father, how do you handle it? What do you do? Where does your mind go? Well, for Canadian man Randy Jansen, it went to a very dark place. He had watched her through her pain. He had watched her try to endure through it. But as a dad, he decided that he would take matters into his own hands. Recently, Randy Jansen posted this on Facebook. Over the last 10 days, I've done some of the worst things I could ever have imagined a person doing. First, to do with my dear, sweet, loving daughter, Emily, the best little girl two parents could ever hope for. She was talented and smart and filled our hearts with laughter. She was always willing to help with a smile, even when she was feeling lousy. Emily excelled at so many things, but slowly had to stop almost everything because of the migraines. But when it affected her beloved singing, it took a part of her soul. She has been very ill with migraines that have plagued her since elementary school. This has caused her to miss 2 years at UBC, which completely broke her heart. I don't think anyone really knew how much pain Emily was in on a daily basis and the severe depression that these migraines caused her. Emily watched her friends from high school move on with their lives while hers was spent wrenching into a puke tray and hours at the emergency room. Since October, November, her migraines have escalated to excruciating again, and I just could not see my little girl hurt for one more second. She had shown unimaginable strength through a lot of migraine pain over the years and almost seemed to try to look on the bright side and always loved talking about things. When I get better, let's do this and let's do that, she would say. I wish sweetheart Emily had tried everything to get better, but nothing seemed to help her. I took a gun and shot her in the head, and now she is migraine-free and floating in the clouds on a sunny afternoon, her long, beautiful brown hair flowing in the breeze, a true angel. Then I shot Laurel, because a mother should never have to hear the news her baby has died. Then a couple days later, my sister Shelley, because I did not want her to have to live with this shame I have caused all alone. Now my family is pain-free and in heaven. I have great remorse for my actions and feel like the dirt that I am taking full responsibility for my actions of those murders. So sorry to anyone I have hurt. Rest in peace, my little family. And he ends it with, love, Daddy-O, XOXO. Now, I can barely comprehend what happened in this story. It's just unbelievable that a father would do this. Now, I can understand looking at your kid and wishing there was some way to take the pain away, because you're completely helpless. There's nothing you can do except watch as your child suffers. And so for some reason, this dad decided he would take a gun and shoot her in the head. And so we don't have any details of the last moments of her life, what happened that led up to this. But apparently there was more that happened. Apparently the house became surrounded by law enforcement. They threw some kind of what they call a distraction device. It's basically a bomb. They threw it through the window. and the house caught on fire, and basically the house burned down. And so just needlessly, all of this happened. And the reason I talk about this is because it just seems like several things have happened over the last couple of days that remind me of how precious and how fleeting life can be. Because here you have a girl, Emily Jansen, who was 19. She was 19, that's right. And living her life. By all accounts, she never complained about the pain she had, but she endured it. Why? We don't know. I would speculate that she just loved life. She loved everything about it. Because there is so much about life to love. Now, the dad, I mean, his motives were good. He wanted to end her suffering. But he was selfish in the way he did it. Because he took a life. She wasn't expecting it. There was no way that Emily could have suspected that anybody would do this for this reason. Because as everything that I've read about this story, she was a person who was willing to endure the pain. She never complained about the pain. This was just something about her life that she had to accept. Now, there's a ton of people out there who have to accept different things. Life does not go as you want it to go all the time. And so there's a lot of people who choose to continue living, accepting the conditions that they have to accept. But this man, this father, this person decided that he did not want to give his daughter the privilege of choosing, the right of choosing how to live her own life. And so he ended it for her. And so she is just one of millions of people who died on that day. And so this story is just an example of how fleeting and how unpredictable life is. He killed his daughter, he killed his wife, he killed his sister. Now, I will say there's probably more to it than that. He probably had, I'm assuming, but I do believe also that he is dead also. I believe he died in the fire. But also recently, a family left their house, I believe from South Carolina. They flew their small 4 or 5 person airplane to Atlanta to pick up another son and his fiance, and to go to one of their brother's graduation. And so the flight took off. Literally moments later, the last thing heard from this pilot was, "We're going down," speaking to the airfield from where he took off. And that airplane crash landed in the middle of Interstate 285, one of the busiest interstates in Atlanta. 285. Crash landed in the middle, literally in the middle of the interstate, hit the mid wall, whatever that wall is called. No other casualties. No other cars even touched. Well, I think a truck was. I think the plane hit a semi truck. But again, 4 lives gone. Recently, there was a band driving to one of their shows in Atlanta, and the driver fell asleep and rolled the van off the interstate into a field, and they all died. And I think, as I hear these stories, I think to myself, what were their thoughts that day? They had plans. They had places they were going to go. They were going to a graduation. Emily Jansen was just going to live her life. Maybe she knew, maybe she was having a headache that day. Whatever the case, These people were living their lives. They were going to live their lives. They were going to go to these places. They had plans. They had things they were going to accomplish in their life. They had goals. They had family people they were trying to get to. All of that cut short. Mistakes were made, and in life, mistakes happen. All the time, mistakes happen. Most times, mistakes don't end a life, but mistakes happen. These cases ended with people losing their life. They're dead. They are no longer living. And so families are crushed, families are destroyed, lives are broken. Because these kind of things are unpredictable. There's no way to predict that thing was going to happen. The night before, the people in the band, what did they think was going to happen the next day? They're going to get up, get in the van, and go. What did Emily Jansen think was going to happen? She was going to live her life. She was going to go to the beach. Whatever. She was going to live. The people were going to go to a graduation. What were they planning next? Life is it's just unpredictable. And so I'm convicted. And I'm going to preach to you right now. I'm standing at the pulpit. Where are your values in life? What do you view as valuable? You know, I do not have life together. My life is not this compact, orderly thing. It's not. My life is chaotic. My life is insane. And any person who is a parent of children under the age of 8 understand that. I love it when people who have grown children look at us at church and see me trying to get my kids to sit down and be quiet. I love it when they look at me afterwards and they just come to me and say, you know, we understand. We understand. Because life is chaotic sometimes. But I also live with the reality that I know that at any moment, I could go. You could hear my head smash the table in front of me at any moment. But here's the thing that I am so incredibly thankful for. I am incredibly thankful that I know that my soul is prepared to go. Because even though I don't want to leave this life, because this is all I know. This is all I know. This is life. This is all that I am aware of. This is what existence means to me, is living in this house, living with these people I call my family, going to these places that I go to work. This is what I am. This is my life. It's all I know. I don't understand, or I can't even comprehend what death even means. The fact that this person that I am will no longer exist in this world, that my timeline stops the moment I die. My legacy stops. And there's a good possibility that people 100 years from now will not even know I existed. That my mark on this earth will be very minimal. That if I'm lucky, the only mark I will have on this earth is that my children will grow up to be good, decent people. And so you might ask, well, then what is the point? What is the point of even living? What is the point of any of this? And it's a question that's asked in Scripture. What is life is meaningless? Life is meaningless. There's nothing, I mean, what is the point? If you're just going to live a certain amount of years and then die, what is the point? I don't know. What is the point for Emily Jansen? What is the point for any of those people in the band? What is the point of any of this? I don't know. I cannot understand. I don't know what the point is. I think for me, the point is to understand the goodness of what is coming. Because I believe that this is not the end. I believe that when my life ends here, there is not an end, there is not a pause, there is nothing, there is a transition from this life to the next. There's all kinds of stories of people who have been on the operating table, people who have died, and people who have seen what's on the other side, and people explain it away. Scientists explain it away. Professionals explain it away, saying that is what happens when the brain shuts down. It's nothing. It's what happens when the brain shuts down. Ignore it. Well, that's true. It could be. That's what it could be. It could be just the brain shutting down. Or it could be the soul leaving the body and the soul seeing what's on the other side. There's stories of people who have experienced heaven. There are stories of people who have experienced what they would say is hell. Now, there's only, out of those two places, there's only one of those places that I am willing to go to. I do not want to go to the second place, the place that is commonly called hell. And in my opinion, people don't go to hell because God is this horrible person, that God is this horrible being who looks at you and says, selfishly, you're not going to go to church and worship me? Okay, well, let me show you this. And he ends your life and he throws you in the pit of fire. I don't think that's what he does. I think God is a gentleman, and I think that God gives every person their life for some reason. And in this life, he never forces you to worship him. He never forces you to obey him. He never forces you to honor him. He doesn't force you to do anything. He gives you the right to even say no to him. And so I believe that God, the gentleman that he is, even after you die, does not force you to be with him. That your life is made up of the things that you do in this life, that your life is made up of the person that you become. You become because of the decisions you make in this life. You become the person you are by the mistakes you've made. You become the person you are because of whatever you've learned from those mistakes. And ultimately, the destination of your soul, in my opinion, is directly related to the decisions that you make in this life. Now, there's all kinds of questions you can ask. You can say, Troy, what about that civilization that they've never even heard of God? What happens to them? They've never had a chance to even acknowledge God. I don't know. As I've said before in conversations like this, the Bible talks about the gospel being spread to the entire world. Everybody will know about him. And then the end will come. So that is what I believe. I believe that God, that Jesus, that the Spirit, that they will not allow this life to end at this planet. They will not allow this planet to be destroyed until every single individual person is aware of what true life is. And then, once everybody has had the opportunity to make the decision, then the end will come. I believe that God did not create robots, that God did not create people who would automatically love and adore him. God is not that selfish. Even though people say that he is, they say it's selfish for him to send people to hell. I don't think he does. I think people make the decision to go there consciously or unconsciously. They decide they are the type of people to go there. That they are the type of people who will never, consciously or unconsciously, they will never worship something other than themselves. In fact, some people will say, I would rather go to hell. And that is a horrifying thought to me. Because because I think hell is hell because God is not there. This earth is not completely hell. There's a lot of bad things that happen on this earth. There's a lot of things that may make the earth seem like a place full of hell. I mean, kids, innocent children dying of bone cancer. What is that about? People being killed. Innocent people being killed for their beliefs. What is that about? The injustice being seen in many parts of our own country. What is that about? But through all the pain, all of this, God has never left us. God is here, and that is why there is still goodness. Hell is hell because there is no God there. God is not there. That's why there is pain. That's why there is real suffering. That is why there is gnashing of teeth. That is why there's all that stuff. Because here, God is here and protects us from those things. Even if you don't want God or even if you don't acknowledge Him as God, He is still here and He still protects us from that. He still gives His presence to everybody. But when your life is up, when your life ends, when you feel your life coming to an end, or if you're on an airplane and you have no time to even realize it's happening. When your own father comes to you in your room and puts a gun to your head and pulls the trigger. Some people don't know that death is coming. Some people do. But when your life is up, the choice is no longer yours. The choice has already been made. Your soul is made to live outside of a body, and where your soul continues to live is based on decisions made now, in this time. The decisions you make now. And so I urge you, and I ask you, and I plead, please, Consider God. Consider Christ. Consider church. I don't know. Please consider these things. There is a lot of pain and suffering in the world, but it's not what it could be because God is still here. People make bad decisions. All of the atrocities that man does are done because people make bad decisions. Hitler himself, Adolf Hitler, made the decisions he made because he made bad decisions. He's a bad person. He's the kind of person that makes the decisions that he made. God didn't force him to do that, but there was still indescribable beauty in the world. One man made a horrible decision, and a lot of people suffered. A lot of people died, but God was still there. God does not stop you from making bad decisions because He did not make robots. He made people with the ability to make choices. And what is the choice? What choices will you make? I'm sorry, I didn't want this to be church. I just had a lot of thoughts on my mind the last couple days, and I hope that it has spurred some thoughts in your brain. If you disagree with this, or if you want to give me your thoughts on this, please give me a call to my voicemail. Again, you will not talk to me. You will not talk to me at all. You'll talk to my voicemail, 707-874-TROY. And Facebook.com/TheTroyShow. We're also on SoundCloud. Look up Troy O'Don on SoundCloud. We're on Stitcher now, and I've actually been getting a lot of hits lately from Stitcher. So go to Stitcher.com, look up The Troy Show, and you can find us on there. iTunes also. Go to iTunes, look up The Troy Show, one word. All of these searches is one word, The Troy Show. So I thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for being patient with me today. So until we meet again, my friends, take care.